permanent household hazardous waste collection site is now open by appointment only at the Bennington Transfer Station. Upon entering the facility, take the first right and follow the signs.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Trash Talk with Lisa and Paula. I'm Lisa Beyer, I'm the Executive Director of CAT TV, and I'm here with Paula.
Paula Camperman, I'm the Outreach Program Manager for the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance.
Hi, and I'm Scott Grimlyon. I'm the Program Manager for the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance.
So we're here today at the Bennington Transfer Station at the Household Hazardous Waste Facility, which is a new aspect of the transfer station. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. Can you tell us what this is and how it came to be?
Sure. Well, it is a permanent household hazardous waste collection facility, which is brand new to the area. It serves the 13 towns within the Alliance, and it allows folks to come by appointment to drop off materials on a given day with a $5 charge. In exchange, they can bring an entire carload of material that they have that is included on a list that we supply at the time folks make their appointment. And they can drop off the material. A staff member from our contractor comes and pulls the material out of the car, and then they're on their way. No waiting in line as they have done in the past. No worried about the weather, standing in line. It's sweet. And it's at the Bennington Transfer Station because we've already got some infrastructure here. Initially, it made the most sense. Financially, to put it here, we had enough space, and we already had kind of a driveway that was dedicated to get us to this point where we could put the building.
So essentially you're renting this space from the town or from?
So we rent a square lot here in the old landfill site from the town of Bennington. The rest of the old lot is rented by Casella, which is a separate corporation which manages the transfer station day-to-day operations. Here at the Alliance, we've sectioned off this area, for the entire 13 towns of the Alliance. So this is an area that's open not just to Bennington residents, like the rest of the transfer station, but to the entire town.
The entire county. So basically, this is replacing how many different day-long events would you have throughout the county?
We used to have 3 4-hour events, and they would be May in Bennington, July in Reedsboro, and September in Dorset. That doesn't mean we'll never have another event, but for time being, we're trying to determine the actual demand for how much service do we need to supply the county with for collection. So right now we're open 1 day a week on Mondays, unless it's a holiday, and then Tuesdays after a holiday. From 9 to 3, folks make a 20-minute appointment. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Drop off the material, and then they can come in anytime, as many times as they need to during a season. They just make an appointment through our website, bcswa.org, and there's a handy little drop-down menu. Asks you what town you're from, it gives you a list of all the approved materials so that you can have an idea of what you can take and what we don't accept, which I can go into more detail.
So when did the facility open?
The facility opened on July 31st. It was after, about a year and a half of 2 years of more than 2 years worth of planning and organizing and getting everything good. I was hired a year and a half ago, so for me it's been a year and a half. But for Paula and for my predecessor in the position, it was longer to go through the grant application process and everything.
So you've been open about a month now. So how has it gone? How have you seen a lot of activity?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of activity. We had a fewer appointments at the beginning, as we're trying to get our feet underneath us, and now we've worked our way up to getting a more full schedule. We have 10 appointments today. We expect when we're at full capacity, we're going to start getting 18 appointments a day. So that's going to be great. The things that have surprised me, just in general, the quantity of paint that people drop off. We work with the state paint care program, we have 4 cubic yard boxes already full of paint just from the last 4 weeks. So it gives us a good idea. We're learning what the schedule is, when we need to schedule pickups from our vendors and other things like that.
I understand though that people don't have to make an appointment to drop off paint here, that there are other opportunities for them to drop off paint. Is that correct? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the paint care program works with a lot of hardware stores all throughout, well, the state of Vermont. But in our case specifically, with the Sherwin-Williams here in Bennington, RK Miles, and I believe Miles Hardware in Arlington. So if you have just 5 gallons or a reasonably small amount of quantity, you don't have to wait to make an appointment. You don't have to wait until a Monday that you can manage to find some free time. You can just stop down to any of those hardware stores with your paint and go. If you do have a very large quantity and like to get rid of it all at once, though, we are here to accept that for you as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, it's something that we try to tell folks at every household hazardous waste collection event. You don't need to wait the year to bring your paint.
Yeah.
You can do it anytime during the year.
And it doesn't matter where you purchase the paint, you can just take it to any of those locations.
It's got to have its original label on it. So if you've if you've dumped it into a secondary container, then that's not then you need to take that here. But if it is if it's labeled with the original label, and if it's an architectural paint, if nothing that you're going to paint a boat bottom with, nothing that's like an industrial paint or anything like that.
No spray paints.
Spray paints as well. You need to come here. They do not get dropped off at the hardware stores.
And with the paint care program, one important point is you want to make sure the paint is still in liquid form. If it's solid, it just gets tossed away as architectural paint. It needs to be
So
liquid
even
form.
here.
Yeah, it just goes trash.
Yeah, if it's completely dried out and it's a block of paint on the bottom of a can and you drop it off here, we do put that into the landfill.
Okay. All right, so tell us about what things you do accept here.
Well, we use sort of a guideline to help people understand. When you're seeing the contents of the material on the canister or whatever it is you have, you look at things that say warning, caution, flammable, toxic, do not use without proper ventilation. These are types of warnings that lead the user to know that there is some toxic level substance in there. So we use that as a guideline.
Okay.
Things like pool chemicals, cleaners, polishers, varnishes, things like that are just not something you would put in the wastebasket.
Sure.
Things that we no longer take that we used to are fluorescent bulbs. That's not part of the program. That's covered through a extended producer responsibility or special recycling program in retail locations and a number of transfer stations. So if you have those, take them to your transfer station or nearby retailer. We have a full list on our website at bcswa.org under special recycling, and list all the locations of drop-off available.
Okay. What is the thing that you've seen the most that people have been bringing in? What do you think?
We've gotten some pesticides recently. I think it's the end of summer, and people who use some of that in the garden, they're done with their cans, and they've sort of been bringing that in. We've gotten a number of things. It's hard to say. Everyone's got kind of funky little things. Yeah.
Okay, that's all
Yeah,
right.
we also take propane canisters, 1 and 20 pound,
Oh, that's
and
good to
fire
know.
extinguishers, so that's important.
That's good
That's
to
kind
know.
of like not in the chemical household under the cabinet realm, but it's other parts of the house that you need to think of as well.
So when people come in, so they go on the website, they make an appointment, and it's on Mondays through October.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be open from May through October every year.
All right. And so when they come in through the waste station at the transfer station, and then they're directed to go around the driveway here, and then they end up right here where we're standing. And I can see that there's safety guidelines, so you want the people to stay in their vehicles, and the staff assist taking everything out of the car. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we of course need the folks here to be vocal and help our staff identify what objects are coming in, so that way we know how to categorize it, whether it goes in sort of our poisons and toxics area, whether that goes into our flammables area, or whether that goes into our corrosives area. And that depends on, again, the type of waste. And then each individual waste stream will get packed up into these 55-gallon drums. These blue ones here, this is for bulking. So this is when we'll take like with like, and we'll pour them all together into the same container, because they can all be disposed together at the same facility. And then the other ones, these black barrels, are where we take them and they're still in their original containers and they're sort of loose packed into there. And then we take those, and those get shipped off. Into the
So what would be an example of what goes in the toxic compartment?
Sure. Antifreeze. Yeah, so actually we have gotten quite a bit of something like this. Yeah, this is something that, if you don't want to ingest it, you don't want to have it poured into your drinking water. Sure. So this is exactly the kind of thing that we would put into here. Another thing that would also go into the toxic are, of course, your pesticides, anything, your DEET, etc. Roundup.
Yeah. And this one is corrosive. Okay.
Oh, this is corrosives, I'm sorry, yeah.
So what's an example of corrosive?
So things that are more bases, things that are going to have your bleach sort of base, for that type of a thing. A lot of cleaning supplies, yeah, there's some potassium.
Permanganate that uses in a well to get rust out.
So I see like Drano, liquid plumber.
Yeah. Yeah, so more of your cleaning supply sort of stuff tends to be in the corrosive department.
And then finally we have flammable.
Right, and so this is, we'll fill up one of these entire things full of spray canisters or other things, oil-based cleaners, things like the propane tanks and stuff. We do have a separate container for propane tanks. Those are for larger ones, but when we drop off these small sort of camping gas ones, they're stored in here and then taken by our guys. But
we don't take motor oil.
We don't take motor oil, but they do take motor oil at the facility, at the actual transfer station itself. The town actually reuses that oil in some of their facilities to heat, so they have a way of recycling that used oil.
So do you know how residents do that here?
Sure. Just to the right of the scale house, there is a very large tank that the town manages and will empty periodically, that you can just take and bring your used motor oils to. Yeah, oils though, not gas in that case. Yeah.
And then I think that there's two other little containers behind this. What do those house?
Sure. So we have one is basically just for us keeping empty barrels and equipment and sort of storage stuff. That's the old pumping station for where the that's the old pumping station from when the leachate from the landfill used to come up. So we've reused that building, reappropriated that for just general storage use, not for anything that's toxic. Yeah. And then it also, that's where we store our paint over there. So we have our large cubic yard box containers that we fill with paint, and then we the paint care program comes and picks it up for us.
Yeah, tell us about the grant that helped have this facility built.
So the grant was applied for in 2021, and we received funding notification in the fall, and it was a $116,000 $600 grant, something like that. Okay. The towns had to pitch in 40% of that cost. Mm-hmm. The state came up with $69,190, something like that. And in turn, the 40% would be spread proportionally through the towns based on population. And what we would do then is, with that, seek bids to find a structure of some kind. We found one that was prefabbed. Scott went through that with putting out for a bid to get the various quotes that we received, and then also build a pad, the slab that we can put it on, and get the materials to go inside of it, add electricity, get a canopy. We had another shed put in for storage, and make sure that we have a trained person or two, and get a contractor involved. That takes time, but we did it under budget.
Yay! Yeah, it came in about 109,000.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a $5,000 savings, and then get it up and going, and get the word out to everybody to help everybody understand. And so far, anyone I talk to is mostly very positive by the news. That it's a very exciting thing, meaning they're getting more flexibility in their schedule when they can drop it off. We picked, I think the contractor decided that they had Monday available, so that was the date we picked. I've had some, squawking about why didn't you do it on a weekend? Well, it just didn't work that way, but we may consider that at some point if it's something that works.
Right. You've only been open for a month, so there's things to tweak and figure out.
Yeah, but we wanted to make sure there was enough time and that you've got, all of the nice seasonal weather to drop the stuff off, and you can, pick it from here to, you can start next year, May 1st, and the whole calendar's over.
Sure, right. So how does this, I would imagine that there's a lot of cost savings from having to run those 4-hour events. There must have been a lot of manpower and coordinating going into that, as opposed to having this one facility.
Yeah, there is, because each event has its own, it's like setting up for a festival or a concert. You have to secure the contractor, you have to get the sheriffs to come out, you have to make sure the host facility is all set. They are very good at coordinating with us. The 3 facilities we've used in the past, which have been the Highway Department in Reedsboro, the junior high in Bennington, and the Dorset School, and they've had fantastic facilities departments that have coordinated with us to get everything set up. But we all have to do the promotion in advance of that, all the newspaper advertising, everything, and that gets costly. Plus, then we have the household hazardous waste contractor come to collect the material. They're there collecting for 4 hours, and then they pack up and go. But to them, it's more than a full day because of the travel time and everything. They, in turn, charge, let's see, in May of 2022, we got a bill for over $30,000 for 4 hours. So that adds up in a hurry. And when you do that, maybe not times 3 every year, but it continues to grow in cost because the cost to dispose the stuff is getting very, very expensive. So we looked at that in the years to come. Any grant money we got didn't come anywhere close to what it was going to cost to take care of these events. So the state made an offer, and it made sense to us without having to do much.
And it sounds like the cost to the individual towns was not extensive.
No.
Because of the way it's split up between the grant and then the 14 towns, correct?
Yeah. So we actually divided up proportionally by population. So, Arlington paid less than Bennington, and Pownell paid less than Arlington, based on the size of their populations. And, everyone is just paying their fair share. And we're, again, the math as we've worked it out is, as far as from the town's perspective, this facility will begin paying for itself, after about 3 years.
Sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And as we look forward, the state legislature just passed a HHW EPR law, which is basically getting the manufacturers of all this material to work together with the state to build in a program to build in the payment for the take back of this material. So come 2025, we hope to have a program in place that'll help fund this all together. So we aren't taking the full burden of this material disposal solely on the towns.
Yeah, it won't be equally distributed among the taxpayer. A large portion of that is going to come from point of purchase.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that brings up another question I have. What happens to the materials once you collect them? I don't think we covered that.
Sure. The materials are brought. So we work with right now we're working with a contractor called Heritage, who has been in business in dealing with toxic chemicals and waste since the 70s. We work with their Albany office. They're a big nationwide organization, but we work out of their Albany office, and they send crew members up here to work for us on Mondays. They're all well trained. They have all their OSHA certifications. They have all of the hazardous waste understanding that that it takes to know from working specifically in this field every single day. They know how to deal with the categorize and deal with everything. And so that all gets packed up into individual barrels. Sometimes, and this is actually a cost saver, like I said, they'll bulk it into barrels, and that's a big cost saver for us because we're not actually shipping the containers that things came in as well. And then that's taken somewhere either for recycling or for incineration. So Heritage themselves will then take that back to a facility they have somewhere in New York State that then everything will be sorted again a second time based on the barrels, and then some of it will be shipped over to an incinerator. Some of them will be shipped over to different areas for other forms of safe disposal, including recycling.
Okay, so you contract with them to handle that, which you would have done a similar thing with the individual day events.
Yeah,
you would have had,
same
but it would have been a
Yeah.
yeah.
Much greater manpower required on those
Sure,
types of
sure.
events, yeah.
Right, and also because everything is happening so quickly, they don't have quite as much time to sort everything as efficiently. So what we've done here is we've created a 20-minute time period for appointments. Generally, it only will take a resident 5 minutes to come in and to drop off their goods. But the rest of that time is really for us to sort through those goods and to sort through the other goods that are happening here, and to take those extra steps in order to make sure that the disposal is happening as efficiently as possible, and shipping and everything is happening with as low of a burden to the taxpayer as possible.
Right. Well, it seems like a great place. I know that there's a lot of beeping going on in the background because we are at the transfer station and everybody is hard at work. It's Monday morning. But is there anything else that you guys wanted to cover today, or do you think we got it all?
No, I think just get onto our website. If you don't have access to the internet, you can call our office directly at 802-447-0713, extension 2.
802-442-0713.
442, excuse me. Thank you.
We'll make sure we get that number up
It'll be
on the screen for you. All right, well, until next time, we're going to sign off from Trash Talk with Lisa and Paula, and we'll see what we can find to talk about next episode.
Great.
Bye.
Bye.